Okay, so this is KZD and Joshua, aka it's Joshua Wyatt here. Okay, so here's Pro Tools. This is my basic setup. This is 7.3, and here's how we do this. We've got our setup window. I have three, or get rid of these. I have first thing you do is you want to set your tempo for your beat. If you know what the BPMs are, in my opinion, it's extremely important. But you know, I find out what the BPM is of my beat, or when I create it, I obviously know what it is. And then you set your key to what key the music is in right here, which you know, I also think is important, especially if you're using like an auto-tune plugin or something like that, or somebody's singing on the track. Then I have a use mono thing that is use, and I turn it down. I use this for recording all my audio. It's untampered with, just a basic mono audio track that I turn down. And then after that, I've got hook. Actually, I'm gonna erase these to make it easier. Delete. Okay, here we go. This is easier. Use. Then I have verses, which is your main vocals. ADSD1, which stands for ad-libs side 1 and ad-libs side 2, and then ad-libs 3, which is, these are basically background vocals, these two, and then this is like an ad-lib track. So you've got verses, which is panned 11% to the left. You've got your background vocals side 1, which is panned 79% to the right. And then background vocals, the second track, which is panned 79% to the left. And then you've got your ad-lib vocals, which right now are just not even panned. We're gonna alter those as we go. So you've got your first track. You use this track to record your audio. Hit record, and then you've got your music playing. And the guy starts recording. Whoever's recording, blah blah blah. You have them record their verse, and then you stop it. You trim it up like so, and bring it to the verses track. There would normally be audio here, of course. Verses or your main vocals, whatever. And then you're going to record background vocals. You record that, and now they can hear their verse playing while they're recording their background vocals. You record one set of background vocals. Of course, you got to get it right, but once you got it, you've got background vocals. You move that down to here. And then you copy that and you paste it below on the second background vocals track. And what you want to do is, this one's primarily panned to the right, this one's primarily panned to the left at 79 and 79 either way. You choose the spot option and you click on the bottom vocals. And right here we have spot dialogue. Time scale is bars and beats. Start is at 2, 1, 0, 0, 0. We want it to start at 0, 1, 5 after the other one. So, in other words, this one here on spot starts at 0, 0, 0. This one here starts at 0, 1, 5. So now I can show you, if we zoom in, you can see that it plays just a little bit after the first background, or the right background vocals. The left comes in just a little bit later, gives it a stereo feel. So here we are back at the beginning, and then you record your ad-lib track. You know, somebody records their ad-libs over these things. Of course, you're going to have to adjust the volumes of these on the fly, but there's somebody recorded ad-libs. You trim that up, you move it down here, and then you go to pan. And what I usually do is I choose the pencil option, and I choose slip, and I randomly pan my ad-libs wherever you want them, like so. You can do it that way, or I'll erase this, and you can choose the hand key and the grid option, and you can pan them like this, you know, whatever. But I mean, that's just preference on how you would want to pan them. So anyways, then back to wave, and then you come over here and you adjust, you know, your verses you got here, your background vocals you don't want too loud. I usually keep these the same volume, or off just a slight hair, depending on if you want it to sound better in one side. Like, for example, you could put this one up, the one in the left side, or no, I'm sorry, put this one up because this is playing out of the right side, which is the opposite of the mains, just to give it a little bit of a more background vocals in the right to make up for the fact that you have this pan 11% to the left. That's just preference. And then, you know, your ad-libs you want somewhere around the same volume as the background vocals, depending on how loud the delivery is and stuff like that. Now we're going to go through the equalizers, reverb, and compressor on these tracks. Main vocals, this is my equalizer. This is an aftermarket equalizer for the Renaissance Max system. But it's you know, you can use these same settings in the equalizer that comes with Pro Tools. But this is what we have here. I mean, if you generally follow this, I keep the EQ at plus 0.5. You know, and then these are the settings. I mean, you just have to look at them, but I'm going to take a screenshot and have these posted. So there's that, and this is, I save this preset as vocals too. This is what I use for my primary vocals, whether it's the hook or the main verses. That's the EQ for that. Equalizer settings for my background vocals and my ad-libs is this on all the tracks. I mean, these can be altered a little bit. I do alter them based on, you know, each track, but this is a general setting that I found that seems to work really well. Do not turn up, I don't turn up the gain on the EQ at all. It's pretty much exactly the same. You know, I'm going to take a screenshot of this too as well, so that it's there, you know, set as background vocal EQ setting. And then of course on the both background vocals it's the exact same one. And then the ad-lib track, I use the EQ setting that I use on the primary vocals. It's the exact same one. So that pretty much explains that. Primary vocals reverb, I use the deverb that comes with Pro Tools. You've got an input of 0, 0, mix is 11%, Hall, large, diffusion 87, decay 702, milliseconds, pre-delay is 10 milliseconds, HF cut is 15.10, LP filter is 11.28 kilohertz. And the deverb on the background vocals is exactly the same. And on the ad-libs is exactly the same. On the hook, I have a setting for basic reverb 20% instead of basic reverb 11. While that is turning the reverb up to 20% instead of 11%, and I only use that on the background vocals. You can use whichever one you like that sounds better, but you know, and you can alter the setting of the reverb here. You know how much you give it. But that's that. And then the compressor settings. This is the compressor for the main vocals, either hook or verses. I have it set at attack is 1.51, release is 251, gain is at 20, threshold is at 31 minus 31.0, ratio is at 4.11. This seems to work very well for me as far as the compressor goes. And then the compressor settings for the background vocals and the ad-libs, and basically everything else except your primary hook vocals and your primary verse vocals. The compressor is exactly the same except the gain is at 16. All the other settings are the same. I have two selections. I've got compressor vocals 20 and compressor vocals 16. The 20 is obviously used for primary hook and primary vocals, and the compressor vocal 16 is used for background vocals and ad-libs and hook background vocals, hook ad-libs, things like that. And then on the last master fader, I have this compressor at the very end that I set to hard limiting. It's the basic setting, and I just use that so that it's loud enough when I'm mixing and stuff like that. When I'm all done, I use isotope 4, but that's another story. And that's exactly what I do. So that is all, and we'll see you if I can stop recording.